Alright, so this is just the basic on how to make up the embroidered patches and whatnot. So basically you're going to want to have like your general patch here. This one here has already been pretty much done up online. You can just find them wherever, or you could just make them up with whatever shapes. So we'll just go with base and the layers. You want to make sure all the actions and the necessary brushes and whatnot are installed for the realistic embroidery pack from online. That there's just gonna get all of the little bits and pieces. After you make sure that everything's done, what you want to do is you want to start separating the layers in here. So just go to Magic Wand tool and pick a tolerance roughly around your liking, like roughly 85. It's just a trial and error. So here, just zooming in, seeing how much it's picking up and how much it's not. It's not crucial, the margin. So this here, first one's going to be blue, so just select all the blue bits. Yeah, we're just going to leave the outside bit because that's going to be a border rather than a bit like that. So you're just going to Control-Shift-J, which will split the layer, hide that, and then it shows you what's left over. And now we're just going to grab the yellow bits, like that. So we're going to again leave the outside bit, as that's going to become a border. Now for something like this, where you select the whole thing, you want to knock your tolerance down to about 25-ish, or something around there. Hold Alt in the Magic Wand tool and deselect the white bit. Obviously you need a bit more this time, a bit less, sorry. So come down to 10 maybe, try this. Alright, so yeah, that will work. So make sure you get the right layer selected and hold Alt on the white bit. Select that, and then you see all these little bits. So it's just a matter of finding the right amount to cut off in the bit. As well, you can also go into change your tool, hold Alt and deselect the area. Just general Photoshop like know-how on like cutting edges and stuff. So there we go, that's that area. And we'll go back into here and select that bit as well on top, and to select multiple things you just hold Shift on the Magic Wand tool, and then when you click it, it will just add on to the selection. So to split them, that will then be the yellow bits, and then we just want to get the white bits. So you can see in here they are embroidered just by themselves, they're not specially done around. So we'll just go and hide that layer, click on this again, grab the bits that we want, and because of this little outline here that it's not picking up on, I'm just going to go select modify on the selected and expand the selection by about 6 pixels, make it that big, just so it gets everything that we need, and then Control-Shift-J that, so that makes that a separate layer, hide that layer. Now, what we're going to want to do is, because the background of the patch is just one whole thing, it's not like edges around these little bits, we're going to want to pull this one back up, hide the rest of the layers, and make sure all of the inside of here is just one big color, so it's a solid, it's not partially things, because what it's going to do is it will like add a border around all of this bit, so you're just going to fill it in. Any color is fine, but I just do this for so I can see what I'm doing. Bring that down to the bottom. So that's basically what it will look like at the moment. Hide these. And so we're going to select this and find our border. You can increase tolerance as to you wish. So go like this, just because I know it will be hard to select it. So that there is going to give me that bit. I'm just going to sort it. Border yellow. And this bit here, I'll select and Control-Shift-J. Hide that. Border blue. Once all that's done, and you can turn everything off, and that there's what you want it to look like roughly. So you can see, yeah, it's generally this the right kind of right sort of shape, right sort of bits on it. Basically, you just want to hide everything but the thing that you're trying to do. So in this case, I'm going to start off with just the yellow bits. Now, you don't need to do this, it just makes it run with a less chance of it failing. So just click on the first one, and it will set up the border around what you're doing, and just click play. It will do all this shit. It's not to worry about it, it's fine, it just does all of this automatically. Wait through all this. It just sort of finds the borders of where each thing is, and it will just automatically set it. After running that action, it should look something like this. You can zoom in and see there's like little sections here. That's where the embroidered stuff will start going. Now you can fill past. This here is going to add a bit of a border on it. Because this is a pretty much solidly embroidered, I'm just going to keep filling it so the whole thing stays embroidered and looks embroidered. So you see it's come in. So here you could either stop and then just have it like this, so it will look like that's a border, and then fill on the inside, or you can keep going so it looks like it's all just solid kind of knitting sort of thing, which I'm going to keep going. Now you will get errors doing this because it is trying to put things in places where it can't actually go. So for example, down in here, it's trying to expand it, but it can't go any further, so it's just going to come out. I'm just going to keep going until it basically has a hissy fit. Just keep repeating it as many times as you want. If you want it just to be that single border, then just leave it as that. If you want it to be numerous times like this here, then go for it. Doesn't really matter. The plugin usually handles it pretty well. Just keep repeating it over and over again. This here may look good, but it does take up a lot of temporary space, so you may want to make sure that it is on a fairly large drive on your computer so that it won't crash or run out of disk space for storing the temporary files. Can be a bit of an issue. I'll just do a couple more just to make sure the whole thing is filled in. So that there's pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to render it all. Now what that's going to do is just going to run through it. Notice where each like little bit is, and it's just going to like fill in the necessary areas, and it will output it in blue. Now once we get there, once it finishes exporting, I'll run you through how to change that up a bit, or how I do it at least. Yeah, again, you just click on the side here, the render all, and just click play, and it will do all this kind of shite by itself automatically. So there we go, that's done. You see it down here, it's realistic embroidery output. Now what I do is, now that you've got all this, it's all blue, and well, you don't exactly want it to be blue because if you look in the photo it's gold, so what you want to do is just delete the layer mask and rasterize the layer and name it what you want, so gold, and then you go up here, image adjustments, hue/saturation, and you just adjust the image here to your liking. So for example, but down, so there roughly, just the lightness and so on and so forth, as you please. So I'm going to settle with around there. Now that there's going to save that there, like that. Now what I'm going to do is drag it down to the bottom so it's out of the way. I'll drag it beneath that layer actually. Hide the layer. I'm just going to turn off, make sure that one is off, and then turn this one on. And then run the same thing through it. So set up borders, and then fill pass, and then render all. Just keep going through it until it's all done. And once it's all done, I'll run you through how to get it so that it's all in the correct spots. So in the case of it being a white object, I'm just going to delete that layer mask. Hang on. I'll just delete the layer mask for the output of the item. I'm going to go up here to filter, camera raw filter. Then going to scroll up to the top, find saturation, bring it down to 0. And I'm just going to bring up the clarity and the texture. Yeah, no, it's shit, but it makes it look good. Turn up the exposure then, and bam, it's white. And it is pretty sharp as well. Gives it a bit of extra sort of texture, if you will, and detail. And you just click OK. Work its magic, and bam. So then that looks like so far that with both of them combined, and so on and so forth. You just keep going through that until they're all done. And yeah. So in the case of this bit here, because it doesn't actually have its own border, I'm just going to run a fill set up borders on it, just so I can establish where the borders are for this bit. And after it finishes doing that, I'm going to skip the fill pass option and go straight to render all. All that's going to do is going to stop it from making another sort of border on this little bit. It's just going to make it look a lot tidier. It will mean that there is a bit of a transparent part on the edge by where the what's it called, the sort of the embroidering is on the edge. It's just going to be one big texture in the middle. It's not going to look the best, but it is closest to what you kind of get with this sort of patch. And now, since it's already bluish, I like to, if things are already blue, I like to come up here, delete the layer mask, and then go into the camera raw filter and edit the blueness in here rather than in the hue slash saturation. So I'll just bring the aquas down and the blues back a bit, the purples back. Hang on, there, and then just clarity and texture. Just makes it look a bit better. So that's say, and I'll bring the saturation out so it looks like that. Okay, let's see there. Now, if you look, it's already starting to take place. You can see it's starting to form up on this. So just again, after you've done that, just rasterize layer and rename it to something else. So background, say, and you just check it all off and just check between which one you want to do first. So either the yellow border or the blue border. I'm going to do the yellow one first, and yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now... Oop, shoot, didn't delete that. Give me a moment. Delete. Raw filter. I'm just going to quickly go through and change it to that color at the back there. You can do this texture and clarity thing on all your patches if you want, all the different levels. I just do it on a couple here and there. Which ones need it, which ones don't, so on and so forth. So I'm going to go down that far. Maybe bring the clarity back. Go up a bit there. Perfect. You can still see the I could still see the stitching, which is good. So you just click OK. It'll just apply, and then you just want to rasterize and yeah. Then you just want to rename it to blue border. Right. So now you got everything done. It should be all down the bottom here. I'm just going to flick everything on and see what we look like. So I'm just going to move that. So that there looks pretty much it. So maybe just a tad of resizing. So I'm just going to make that one there a bit bigger. And I'm just going to move it beneath the last border. I'm just going to make the border a tiny bit smaller. There. Perfect. And so that there is pretty much the patch done. I might make a bit more of adjustment on the border just to match the background there. So I'm just going to come in here, images, Q/saturation, and I'll just bring the saturation down a bit just so it more closely matches that sort of color there. And there you go, that's pretty much the way to do a patch like that. Not much to it, very simple, very easy. Yeah, let me know if you need any help or anything with doing this kind of stuff up. It can be a bit of a pain in the backside at some points. Just play around with the layers where you want stuff. Basically, just that. You just go File, Export as PNG. Export it anywhere. I'll just go to Desktop and then just patch, and yeah, that's done. Alright, have a good one.